Welcome everybody to Findem Live. We're here to share the latest innovations that help you better plan, hire, manage your talent, evolving your approach to talent acquisition using data and AI as a competitive advantage. My name is Benton. I lead product marketing here at Findem, as well as host this monthly Findem Live series, where we're showcasing the latest innovations and details of our platform. And so for everyone watching, please ask questions throughout the session. Let's get the chat rolling. Tell us where you're from. I'm from Vancouver. And so today I'm joined by two incredible leaders in the space, Annie and Chris. Welcome. I'll let you guys do a quick intro before we dive into our topic today. Annie, please take it away.
Thanks, Benton. Hi, everyone. I'm Annie Crean. I'm the head of product at Findem. Been with the team since 2019, so I've seen it through a lot of different lives, and we are very excited to show our latest in AI, particularly generative AI features today.
Awesome. And Chris, a quick intro from you as well.
Hi, everybody. This is Chris. As it says on the slide, I'm here to help the world be aware of Findem and the great things that Findem is doing, but I come at it from somebody who's spent almost 30 years as an operator building companies through building great talent acquisition teams or operating as a chief people officer in my last 2 gigs. And so I bring a couple of different unique value props that, in terms of how to use this tool. And I'm really, really excited to show you, or have Annie show you, what we have today.
Awesome. Well, glad you guys are here, and hi, Maureen in the chat. And so now that you all know who we are, let's get into one of the hottest topics recently. If it's not aliens, it's generative AI. And so today we're diving into what we've recently launched is Findem's AI assistant, which embeds generative AI into Findem's talent data cloud. So you can ask Findem anything about talent. We're going to explore the impact and the potential of how talent teams can leverage generative AI in their workflows. And so I'd like to kick it off with Chris first. I think we've seen a lot of different use cases with generative AI. You're summarizing content, creating content, getting insight and inspiration, asking questions in ChatGPT. For you, Chris, what are you the most excited about when it comes to generative AI for HR and talent teams specifically?
Yeah, thanks, Benton. I mean, I have to put this in a perspective. I got in this business back in the day where fax machines and pagers were the technology that was going to change the world and make our lives that much better. And obviously, we've seen a lot. The internet came around, and even when the internet was there, it really wasn't helpful until the Mosaic browser. Mark Andreessen created Mosaic, which turned into the browser war. It started the browser wars and then the search engine wars. And so I think we're at one of those pinnacle points. We're going into the 4th industrial revolution. This type of technology is going to build so many efficiencies in the work that we do, give us the capabilities to spend our time being more strategic, or decide to take some of those efficiencies and spend that money in other places. So super exciting for me. And I know a lot of people are scared about what AI will do to the roles and the work in the workforce, but I'm not. I think it's just that next generation of great things to come.
Beautiful. Yeah, no need to be scared. I think everything here is super exciting. And we often see recruiters and sourcers spend a lot of time in manual tasks, and even talent marketers, whether it's building a search or going back and forth with hiring managers, or even the time it takes to review candidates. Annie, how can Findem's AI assistant help automate and enhance these types of jobs to be done?
Great question, Benton. So what we've been doing as a company is working with our customers to truly understand their workflows and where there's opportunities for efficiency boosts. I'm going to highlight a couple of very obvious and natural extensions of generative AI in search creation and candidate review. So this is our Findem searches. I'm going to kick off a new search. So Findem has had the ability to create searches in different ways. So candidate roles, LinkedIn profiles if your hiring manager has someone on their team that they wish they could clone, or job descriptions, right? So what we are excited to bring to our product is an AI search assistant. You can think of this like ChatGPT, but it's layered with findem data on top of it. So imagine that you just get a blurb from your hiring manager, or you wanted to sort of quickly spin up a search. For example, I can look for, I could say, show me Java developers in the Bay Area with any B2B startup experience. Now, what this is doing is taking the intent of that search, feeding it into a large language model, and layering on top of it findem's data around people and companies, so that we have attributes that build up the search and the people who match those attributes. This is, again, layering findem data on top of a chat GPT. So what you see here is in the left-hand side, what we've taken is the intent from that original blurb, and then layering in findem specific attributes around titles, locations, must-have skills, and then also making it a little more robust by looking at the pool of the people who match that, and helping you pinpoint even more with additional things. So for example, when we looked at this, we saw that there was a software engineer for 5 to 8 years. That's in general was where these folks lived. So we add that as a part of the search itself. All of this is totally customizable, but the idea is that this is a great start for you to get a really quick understanding of your pool size, and a robust search to customize. So with that in mind, Chris, what do you think this means for TA teams to be able to have access to this search building capability?
Well, it's speed to candidate slate, speed to outcomes, and so the once you get used to the search parameters, and if you really wanted to take it down farther, 32.5, you could start making things must-haves, and you'll start to see the things that are must-haves reduce this candidate pool. But what it does, it just gets you to being prepared for that intake meeting faster. It also gives you a bunch of information that's super helpful to guide the discussion in terms of, the DEI distribution of the candidates. It also where they're located. And so you could really manipulate the search to be exactly what you want. So high quality, high values candidate slates right at your fingertips. So you could go spend your time having the right conversation with the manager on what is reasonable to find and what there probably is a little bit of a dream.
Cool. I am going to go ahead. I'm feeling lucky. I'm going to go ahead and take Martha's question about something a little less standard. Let's see what, for example, this clinical operations manager in Chicago looks like. So again, we have built out a large number of or large taxonomy of curated job description or job titles. But we also have sort of your standard keywords to go back on as well. So this is doing the same type of thing. It's able to take sort of the exact intent and then also find attributes that these folks are matching in order to add here. Great. And so then another natural extension that we thought we could up level here is finding out more about a candidate. So we have a full enriched profile here, gives you your standard, work education, but also things like certifications, who you're connected to at, they're connected to at your company, company information too, information about, this person's tenure at the company as the company grew, financial info. But what we are adding in is our AI assistant helping give you insights as well about this specific candidate. So you can ask it questions that pertain to this search and this candidate. So again, you can think of this as using ChatGPT, but in the realm of the attributes for this search, the attributes for this candidate. And if you ask it to order a pizza, it's going to say, sorry, this isn't relevant to your search. The other thing that we can do is really help up level or reduce the amount of effort to send insights over to your hiring manager about this person. So just like ChatGPT, you can ask to format this to, the way that your hiring manager prefers. If they just want a bulleted list of things, you can do that. But any answer here you can copy, you can put into notes. And if you shortlist this person and the hiring manager goes in, they can go and see the shortlist and let me move my screen here. See those notes right there. So you can present a nice, insightful view of this candidate to your hiring manager, and even en masse, being able to do that. We're working on that to just help improve that candidate assessment and calibration piece. So, Chris, when it comes to the ability to, ask anything about a candidate within this search, how do you think that's helpful for TA folks?
Yeah, again, this is leveraging technology to build efficiency in things that we would have to crunch in our own head and then type out in an email. And whether it's to the hiring manager, and what you'll see soon is to the candidate, the personalization and the ability for the system to see unique things and put that into why somebody is a good candidate for the job, or why the hiring manager should be interested in learning more about this candidate. Or it takes all of that back and forth so we could focus on the things that really matter, which is, hey, this candidate is interesting or not interesting. And we've made that decision based upon a data-driven approach. And then secondly, if they are interesting, go focus on digging more into these areas, and you just get there a lot faster.
Great.
Awesome. And I think, speaking of the candidate, that personalization theme has been a frequent theme we've seen with generative AI kind of use cases, and seeing how often candidates get like really generic messages. Like, Annie, how have we been able to help improve candidate outreach?
Great question. So that's another quick win for us. We think about just the day-to-day tasks that recruiters have. So if, let's say I really like Dan and I want to reach out to him with a really personalized message, we can use our AI on top of an existing campaign, multi-step automated campaign, or you could start from scratch too. And what this messaging does is it provides information about my company, findem in this case, about the search itself that we just built up. And then we can also explain really personalized information about the candidate and why they would be a good fit. So this can really help with that personal touch, just, with a touch of a button. And then findem also has the ability to bulk shortlist people, get a lot of top candidates into a shortlist, and then create an automated campaign on top of that as well. So we can do this at scale. I'm using the AI assistant here to write a recruitment email from scratch based on, again, my company and the search that we are looking for. I can add it into the campaign. I can add another step, and our AI can write a follow-up email with that context from the first email. So we can do that, and then also do things like change the tone to something friendlier, shorten or lengthen it. All of the things that you are used to being able to do with the power of a generative AI tool. And we're just baking that into our workflow. So Chris, when it comes to that outreach, like what benefits do you see of the, baking AI into those workflows?
Look, from a recruiter's perspective, faster, better. From a TA leader's perspective, more consistent, more predictability. I don't have to lose sleep over candidates or managers, which candidates or managers are going to call me in the middle of the night saying, look what this recruiter put in this email, or why do we put this in a job description? So it just makes, it brings so many things from efficiencies, but also from a professionalism perspective. It gives the leaders and the people using the tools just a lot more control over making sure that what we send out is aligned with brand, but also effective in getting the folks to return our inquiry.
Awesome. And for data being one of our core differentiations, I think summarizing information has been a really key area where generative AI does really well in. Seeing how many different metrics that talent leaders or recruiters, sourcers, talent marketers track, how have we made access to these types of insights easier?
That's a great question, Benton. So at findem, we can take all of our data, all of your company's data with the proper integration. So for example, ATS, your ATS, and analyze information at a glance, slice and dice your data how you want. So I'm over here on our dashboarding tool. You can see the information that we bring to your fingertips here. This is totally customizable, but every chart or graph, we also have the opportunity to layer AI on top so that you can dig into the data in a conversational way versus having to go through and try and read a chart, read a graph. So I can ask questions about this. So for example, what was my time to fill in August of 2022? And so it's just another sort of natural extension way to interact with the data and get the information that you need. So Chris, when it comes to adding that layer of AI to access this data, where do you see the benefits?
Yeah, you could put it into the efficiency category right off the bat. Faster time to insight means faster time to action. So there is efficiency, but there is a level of sophistication that can also, from a strategic perspective, if you're taking all of the mundane, constant tasks and you have more time to focus on the strategic, you're going to be able to do more strategic and more innovative things. And the AI will actually get you there faster instead of having to dig through tons and tons of multiple systems with multiple sets of data just to try to get the data connect.
Awesome. And I think there's a bunch of questions in the chat, but I'll ask Chris this one question before we dive into those. I think for our audience I see it as like three kind of main groups. You're either embracing generative AI, you're scared of it, or you have no idea what to do with it. Chris, what are your thoughts on how talent teams should evaluate their use of generative AI and what should they be looking out for?
Yeah, I think all of the above is, even though I said don't be scared of it, be scared of you not being scared of it is going to get you to the point to where you're thinking about how you could use it. You're staying up with how these features, and this is just the very beginning of how we're going to implement Gen AI in the findem. There are going to be so many other things that that will come that will allow you, again, faster, better process and execution, which will either allow time for you to do things that are more strategic or choose to leverage that time, people, and money efficiency into doing other things. And so it certainly will make our jobs more compelling and more satisfying if we're able to leverage what these tools, not just findem, but all the tools that are going to be impacted by Gen AI, to our strategic advantage, to where it just changes the conversations and makes our consult much more higher value. Now, some things that don't change. Listen, I told you I started in the days where we had to use techniques that we didn't just go on LinkedIn and send out an email, right? We had to use techniques that would meet the people where they were. You had to build relationships long term. If your talent brand wasn't strong enough to attract people, you had to figure out what was interesting to the candidates you were reaching out to, so they would engage. All of those things are still going to be in play. You're never going to replace this person-to-person relationship that recruiting is all about. People are betting their careers, but when they're making career bets on taking jobs, it also impacts their family, all the people that. So what it does is it gives us, hopefully, more time to do better assessment, more tools to do better assessment, and more time to actually do the things that we wish we had more time to do. And that is find the right candidates, assess them deeply, make sure that it's going to be a short and long-term fit, and be willing to bet our jobs that this person is going to be successful once we hire them.
Beautiful. I think there's so many questions in the chat. This is the most lively webinar I've seen. One of the questions is for Annie. Do our enriched profiles have contact information?
Yes, we have. We work very closely with a number of vendors to make sure we have up-to-date email and phone number information. You're going to have more emails than phone numbers. That's just the nature of the world. But we also do a lot of work to keep that data refreshed and validated and prioritized based on likelihood of actually reaching candidates.
I saw that Dean also had a question of, he's wondering, do all findem users have access to the same data, or can they add their own data?
Great question. So findem, so we have, hundreds of millions of publicly available profiles. That's sort of what you saw when I was building out my search. We also have a CRM, so you can upload folks into your own sandbox and use that as a way to nurture prospects. Also, as I mentioned with when I showed the dashboards, we have the ability to also bring in data there so that you can slice and dice and analyze too. So data has been the backbone of our business, and we want to make sure that it's easy for you to customize. So if you, for example, are adding notes about candidates, or you have a resume coming in from a candidate, I saw that question too. We layer that on top of our enriched profiles, and that's for your company, right? We don't go and leak that to other customers or anything. So you have access, you have control over your data, and it stays within your organization.
Awesome. And Lisa had a question about us being able to integrate with an ATS. We are able to integrate with an ATS and also enhance the capabilities of your system to be able to do things like candidate rediscovery, rediscovering your silver medalists, and also just in general enhancing your database that is in your ATS. And I think we are in the last couple minutes. I think, Annie, just looking towards the future, what are the other areas or workflows that findem's AI assistant can help improve?
Great question. So as I mentioned, we want to make it easy, just like with one click, to be able to send send top candidates right to your hiring manager with those insights. Pretty, I think I answered you, but we're working with your team on that right now, your exact workflows and how we can help with that. And then I also saw a couple of questions here around, writing up JDs, like that's something that we want to, can be easily extended with our generative AI. The whole concept of an intake meeting, imagine findem as your helper there, being able to take the requirements coming from a hiring manager and in real time being able to show you the pool, being able to show you, how this is affecting your DEI initiatives, and really being able to calibrate in real time. Those are natural extensions of things that we want to do to help save you time.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get to a couple of Jason's questions too. We started out as a sourcing tool, but we're way more than that. We're an entire ecosystem of talent applications. You did see that real quickly, although in the short period of time that we have, it's hard to go through all of that. But think of it as an end-to-end talent application that is built on these extremely robust profiles that you could search by skills and attributes. And then just think about all of the different uses. It allows you'll see your internal people, you'll see your alumni. It has a CRM. It also has a quick shortlist outreach capability. So, and I think that outreach will invite people to apply to a role. Yes. And again, a lot of this depends upon if you have it connected to your ATS or not. And we could probably do another webinar just on all of the features and benefits you get, like the candidate rediscovery and the workflow advantages that you get by connecting findem to your ATS. But think about if you have findem in the ATS, you pretty much have everything you need other than maybe a scheduling tool. So more to come of that. Does findem interact with existing applicants to existing postings? Yes, in that they had an applicants tab, and you'll be able to see any movement that is happening if you're connected to your ATS. You'll be able to see any movement that is happening to your ATS, as well as any of the work that your teams are doing to reach out to those candidates inside of the findem platform. Let's see.
And the last question about the inbound applicants too, right? So we are also tailoring a lot of in-network views, not just sort of your outbound sourcing. And one of the primary goals is to allow you to see inbound applicants to a specific ATS job and do the matching against the search. And that includes resume and application information that they're bringing in. We turn those into attributes so you can do the matching as well.
Love it. I love all the.
And I gotta jump on this one from Dean. Dean, yes, you could in theory push some of the data out, but you wouldn't want to because the analytics and reporting and dashboarding capability in findem is so robust. You'd actually want to use findem as your data lake and reporting application.
Awesome. And as we come to a close, I know there's so many questions. I think there'll be even more follow-up questions. We have a poll for today, and I think it's, if we want to know if this was helpful, and if you want to hear from someone from our team, take a second to answer the poll. And I think we'll close out with a quick little song. But thank you everyone for joining today, and look out for more. I think the next topic might be an ATS plus findem one. Awesome. Thanks everyone.